Have a nice afternoon. Great to have you here. My name is Rosa Tsabihian and I'm Sustainability Manager for Metsä Wood. And today we will discuss a bit about Metsä's sustainability targets. Then we will go into our sustainability services that Metsä Wood has to offer. And then we will dive into biodiversity actions in Finnish forest and taking a look on concrete examples. What does the taking care of the biodiversity actually means? And then at the end of the presentation, we have reserved some time for the questions and answers. Let's start with the Metsä's Sustainability 2030 targets. So we at Metsä Group, which Metsä Wood is part of, have set the sustainability targets for 2030, and we have made them according to the ESG framework, so categorize the targets under the environment, social and governance sectors. And let me guide you through this in short. So on the environmental side, there's of course, as we are in the forest industry, a lot of our focus in there. So if we start with the safeguarding biodiversity targets, what do they actually mean? It means that we increase, for instance, dead wood in forest, which we manage, and also different types of tree species, and increase the nature management in the forest. And we will go at the last part of this webinar. We will go into these concrete examples. What does these targets then in the forest actually mean? What does when we are saying that we have targets for the nature management, how does it then look like? So we will come back to this topic later today. Then on the mitigating climate change side, we have an ambitious target of fossil-free mills. What does this mean? It means that all the fuels and purchased heat and electricity that we buy into our mills and use at our mills are totally fossil-free. So at the moment, around 80% of all the energy that Metsä Wood uses in our mills is coming from fossil-free sources. But of course, our target is to increase this to 100% by the end of this decade. We also have targets for fossil-free raw materials. And regarding raw materials, of course, our main raw material, wood, is already fossil-free. But then we are using, for instance, packaging materials such as plastic, and then also glues that we use are still fossil content. So here we have a target to also replace those either with the fossil-free options, or in cases, for instance, in plastic, increasing the recycled content in there. And this is something where we are then working together with our R&D function continuously to improve these. Then still staying on the environment side, we have our natural resource uses and efficiency in there, and also reducing waste targets for those. So for instance, one of our target is to improve energy efficiency of our production, which is also one of the best ways to cut emissions. So is to use less energy to produce your products. Then also reducing waste, so our target about zero waste to landfill regarding the process waste from our production. This is actually a target that Metsä Wood has almost already reached. So major of the side streams and waste streams that comes in from our production is already either recycled or reused as a new materials or used as an energy. So basically nothing goes to landfill anymore. Then on the On the social side, we are focusing on the well-being of our employees. So here, starting off one of the most important targets that we have is the zero accident target. So our target is that all our employees can be sure that they can, when they are going to work, they are healthy and safety without accidents coming back home from work. Our social targets also include surveys of well-being of our employees, and then actions based on those surveys, how to improve in those. Also, targets regarding diversity, equality, and inclusions are included here. So, for instance, we have taken into use an anonymous recruitment process to help with the possible biases in recruitment processes and to increase diversity of our employees this way. Also, just one example is that we have a target to increase women in management positions. So just to name a few. Then on the governance side, we are here focusing on the suppliers and the origin of our raw materials. So one of our target is that all our raw materials are fully traceable, and with again our main raw material, wood, this is already the case. So all the wood that we use is fully traceable, and we know the origin of the wood and can trace it back to legally and sustainable sourced wood. But then again, with the other raw materials, we want to achieve this same goal, to have full understanding and transparency also with all the raw materials. Then we have other targets for suppliers, but just to name one here is that we are focusing on increasing the cooperation together with our suppliers. So last year we set a new target that we are making common sustainability targets with our key suppliers. So this includes, for instance, that we have common targets with some of our logistic partners to decrease the transportation emissions from our transportations. So this is just an example how we want to increase the cooperation also within the value chain with our suppliers. But then that's about our targets. Now I would be very much interested to hear your sustainability targets and actions, and what initiatives has your company maybe already taken. And so please join the vote by clicking the link below the video window, and there you can choose multiple options there. Then moving on to from targets to sustainability services, so what we as a Metsä Wood offer to our customers. Here, just to shortly summarize, so why are we calling these sustainability services and what we want to achieve with these? So, of course, the main drivers here are that we want to improve our customers' environmental performance of the products that they use, and also increase our customers' knowledge about the different sustainability topics, but also sustainability of our products, and not just to inform, but to help utilize this information then with your customers. And just a couple examples, what does this mean? We have a comprehensive documentation regarding different certificates and documents of both our production and then our raw materials. We can help supporting with the with choosing the products and providing then the different calculations about for instance, about the climate impacts. And then we have these sort of customized trainings where we want to increase the knowledge. But let's take a couple examples of what does this actually mean. So starting off with the positive impact, and here the carbon storage. So our products, plywood and Kerto LVL, for instance, they store they store carbon as long as they are in use, and for this we have developed in our web pages. For instance, this is available for everyone. We have this carbon storage calculator. So there you can go and choose and evaluate yourself, for instance, how much of your specific amount of specific product we produce actually stores carbon in it. If the carbon storage calculator in the web page is not enough, but you want maybe a bit more material and how to utilize it, we also make these customer-specific carbon storage statements, which are available also in this sort of physical version, so printed in paperboard, but also we can make the statements that are then usable in, for instance, in social media or in PDF, so that you can utilize them in your own digital materials. Then from carbon storage to emission reporting. So in the emission reporting side, we have both. We have product level and company level emissions that we calculate and report. Starting with the product level reports, we have made EPDs, also known as environmental product declarations, for all our main products, including spruce and birch plywoods, Kerto LVL and FinJoist. So these environmental product declarations include the environmental impacts calculated for the product for its whole value chain, and they are calculated according to the latest calculation standards. And we are actually, as I mentioned, we have these EPDs for spruce and birch plywoods, and those are for the uncoated products. But during this year, we will publish EPDs also for the coated plywoods. So this means, for instance, also form plywood will be included in those EPDs. Then on the company side, company emissions, here we are measuring all the different parts of our value chain emissions, meaning our Scope 1 emissions, which means the fuels that we use directly in our own mills. We are also measuring Scope 2, which means then the purchased heat and electricity used at our own sites. And then we are calculating also the Scope 3 emissions. And Scope 3 emissions include everything else but the energy that is used by our mills. So that includes, for instance, all the emissions from our raw materials and suppliers, transportation emissions. It includes the commuting of our employees and flights, etc., and also our customers' emissions. So what does it? So it's including also, for instance, the recycling of our products. So that's calculated in there. And all these figures we are reporting publicly in our annual report. Then just to continue the emission report topic. So this is as an sort of an information if maybe one of your companies is part of CDP, so Climate Disclosure Project. And CDP is a non-profit global disclosure system for both private and public sectors to report and manage their environmental impacts. And Metsä Wood here is participating as a supplier. So if, for instance, one of our customers is collecting their suppliers' emission information, this is one way to do it in centralized way. So if you are in CDP, we can report our emissions to you through this platform also. Also, of course, other ways are also possible. Then from the reporting the climate impacts to other, we have both public and customizable services, couple example of those. So one example of customizable services that we have is related, for instance, the traceability of the wood raw material. So we can make this supply chain diagram and illustrate how does the wood value chain for our customer actually look like. So we have our customer, then we have our production unit, all the necessary documents and information linked in there, and then also then we have the information that from which supplier the wood is coming to us. So in Metsä Wood case, it's, for instance, it's coming from our sister company, Metsä Forest. But this is to help to improve that how does the value chain specifically look to one customer. Then continuing this origin of wood, but also widening it a bit. So we have in our web pages available all our mills ISO management system certificates. So our mills have, for instance, ISO certificates for quality, environment, health and safety, and also energy efficiency. And also all our mills have the forest chain of custody certificate, BFC and FSC. In addition to these certificates, we have made then this public document of origin of wood declaration, and this is a bit of a compliance work also. So this document includes information of the wood species that we use, the country of origin they are coming from, and also our alignment with the most relevant regulations. So for instance, with the EU's timber regulation and also the coming EU's deforestation regulation. So those are mentioned then here. And how to contact this then? Should you have any questions, please about the if you have general sustainability questions, or you have a request to made, or just want to have a general chat, please start with by contacting your Metsä Wood's salesperson. So in this case, Thomas, and then we will see case by case what is the need and what type of actions are then needed based on your needs. And now again asking you to if you could kindly join the vote again by clicking the link below the video window. And here I'm interested to hear that what factor is the most important influence to you when making choices about the sustainable products. And here you can choose only one. So we have, for instance, availability of information as one option, or verified emission values, certificates, or maybe material efficiency or impact on business. So please go and vote. We will also see these answers after the presentation. Moving on to biodiversity actions in Finnish forest and how does the nature management looks like. Also giving a bit of information about the also answering the questions, why should we care about the biodiversity as a business? Why does it matter? And then what are then the actions regarding that? So first off, starting with the why does it matter? Why should we care? Is that the climate change will also affect the Nordic forest, and the risks related to the warming climate will increase. And this means, for instance, forest fires, windstorms, also damages from the insects. And when we are actually taking care of the biodiversity and improving it, this is one way to increase the resilience of the forest so that they are more adaptable to the warming climate, but also can possibly take even advantage of the warming temperatures. So this is something that we are definitely interested about. So it's taking care of the biodiversity is first of all is risk management, and it's making sure that we have the raw material availability secured also for the future years. And then what does the actions look like then? So here just a few examples of nature management and what does it look like. So this is a picture of a Finnish forest where we have done the end cut and already planted some new trees. So at the very center of the picture you can see this retention tree group where we have left several tree species. There's also different ages of trees left, and also it's left untouched, so it's serves as a sheltering ticket for the animals as well. And overall at the picture you can see that there's a lot of dead wood, so both standing dead wood, fallen dead wood, and we are increasing the dead wood also by making these biodiversity stumps. So at the left side you can see this small white stump rising there. So it's a tree that's cut from around 3 to 5 meters. And this is made to fasten the decaying process of the trees. And why we are so interested about leaving and increasing dead wood in the commercial forest also is that it's increasing the biodiversity, of course, but it's actually also we have found that it increases the species that are natural predators for then the insects that are damaging then the trees. So that's kind of like risk, also risk management. It's biodiversity actions, but it's risk management also. And risk management and biodiversity actions are also, for instance, seedling these more than one tree species at a time. So it's improving the diversity within the tree species, and we are only using native species, but it's also making sure that if there, even though increasing the dead wood in the forest, that if there comes a case that then one insect or disease comes and kills one tree species, we are still left with the other trees that's left in there. So again, making sure that we have the raw material available in the future. And on the very right-hand side and back in the picture, you can see this group of aspens. And this is actually a very concrete example of the ways we have developed and changed our usual way of working in just last couple of years. So broadleaves are nowadays, we are leaving them to the forest, because broadleaf trees are from the biodiversity perspective, they are very rich in different species, and many species are dependent on those broadleaves. But from the industry perspective, we are not using them to make products, but it's rather to make energy. So nowadays we leave them to the forest for the nature to enjoy them. Then I'm coming to my last question. So now I'm interested to hear that what topic did you find the most interesting one? Was it the sustainability targets at the beginning, or maybe sustainability services, or maybe it was this biodiversity actions that we are taking? So please go again and vote. Thank you. And that's from my side. Thank you for your time. I'm now welcoming Thomas back to discuss maybe a bit about the results from the first 2 votes that we had, and also to see if you have maybe any questions there.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Rosa. I think that was very interesting. One question from my side: if we harvest trees, how many seedlings do we plant then afterwards?
When we do the end cut, where we get our logs that we are using, for instance, for plywood and Kerto LVL, then for around four seedlings is planted after that. Every tree that we have cut from the end cut.
And maybe one question more. So there's the 2 certification standards, PEFC and FSC. Why is it more common to use PEFC in Finland?
In Finland, it's very good question. This is, I think, maybe more related to the history. So FSC was originally planned for the tropical forest, and therefore it also previously it used to match better with the big forest areas and forest owners. But in Finland we have thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of forest owners. So the forest areas that are owned by private forest owners, they are usually very, very small. So this is kind of like historical background that it's just a common certification scheme in Finland. But nowadays we have both of them, but of course more PFC.
Okay, I think we have no more questions so far. Could we have the results from the poll then?
Let's see what the public has voted. So I see that I have some results here already. I see that for the sustainability actions that companies have already taken, they are. I'm very happy to see that there's a lot of focus on safety of employees, which should be the focus always, and then improving also material efficiency, which is also I'm happy to see that. Otherwise, I think those 2 are something that are raising as a top two here, and I think very good topics. So especially with the material efficiency, it's also, of course, when we are taking a more wider look on the sustainability and not focusing just on the climate impact, but on the fact that we are using a lot of materials. So actually the direction where we could use less is something that should be promoted. So focusing on material efficiency is of course key part here. So I'm seeing that material efficiency and safety are very good topics to focus on. Then we have on the second query, let's see. On the second query, I'm seeing that the most important, and when the question was about what's the most important influence of when choosing sustainable products, I'm seeing that there's a most again top two answers were material efficiency, so very much well aligned with the first answers, and then also on the overall impact on business. And I think that's again very understandable and good. It's again taking more overall look on the picture and not just and also focusing on that how can we get benefits from these sustainable products. So yeah, very happy with the results. Thank you very much for answering those.